Hello, welcome everyone to another episode of Minecrab. Today I am extremely excited because we have updated the classic 0.0.14a underscore 08 and it has brought some new blocks to the game. The new blocks are the log, leaves, sand, and gravel. Another addition is clouds, and if we go up to the build limit, we can actually touch the clouds. At the build limit now, and we can actually touch the clouds! Woohoo! These clouds are 2D, unlike the 3D ones now, and you can go straight through them. Another thing is they're always moving, so even if you try to pause the game, you can see they're moving. This version also added coal, iron, and gold ore to the game, but none of them have generated in our pre-existing world. Now, we're going to also get a new block, which had existed, but it also hadn't generated in our world, and that block is water. So now, if I break this block, the water will flow into our world. Before it had just stayed as like a line, but now we have it and we can actually swim in it. Note about this water though is that it can only stay at this Y level or below. It can flow downwards or to the side, but there's no way of using a bucket to get it up or capillary action, so it's just stuck below this Y level. Both the cobblestone and planks texture have changed in this update. The cobblestone texture will remain this way all the way until beta 1.7, and the planks texture will remain the same until beta 1.9 pre-release 5. Both sand and gravel are affected by gravity, so if I place them with air underneath, they'll instantly go to the lowest location possible. Also, if I'm breaking the stack, you'll see that the new ones fall down instantly, and we can use these gravity blocks to suffocate a Steve or ourselves. So we place it, now we're inside the sand block, and we can even see Z fighting between the cobblestone and sand texture. There aren't many mechanics in this version of the game, but I've already designed a contraption. So what I have is a pond, and this pond is dried up, so no fun, we don't get to play and swim in the lake. But there's this combinatory block for the water. Now, first I'm going to pretend I'm someone who doesn't know the combination. So I'm just trying to get the water over there. And I'm clicking, I'm trying to get the right combination. And, oh no! Instead what I've done is just flood the entire building. But now let's say I'm someone who is authorized to go into the lake. I know the code is 123 1 1 2 3 4 1 1 2 3 4 5. Now that I've entered the code correctly, if we go over to the pond, we see it's full, and now we can go and play. Now we can go ahead and look at how it works. It's pretty simple. So there's water, and there's this channel that leads to the pond. And there's a sand blocking the way. And as we're breaking it, it goes down and makes room for the water to slowly move across. While I'm talking about water, I can go ahead and show two bugs related to water. So if I take a gravity block and place it above the surface, you can see it lands on the surface instead of sinking down to the bottom. Same thing will occur if I do this with gravel. It just stays up on there. And the other bug is being shown right now, is the water surface won't render when there's a block on top of it. So it's kind of like we're x-raying into the water. Some other changes is that now when I press F to decrease the rendering distance, fog appears. And the fog can get really close, like it's a horror movie. You can barely see in front of you. Also, entities now save when the world is closed. And there's now a limit on the Steves. So now there can only be 256 Steves in a world. So no more overpopulating our world with Steves. Right now we're in a long and deep pool with the fog to show off yet another bug. So right now the fog kind of fades away just as it should. If I go underwater, you can see it just goes straight to white, no transition. Look over here, same thing. Straight to white. Also, if I spawn some Steves, you can see they don't swim at all, so they're all just going to start drowning. Another change is that if I hold left click, I'll continue breaking blocks. Before, I had to click each time to remove each block. And I've used this fact to make a gigantic cavern. And we're going to use this cavern for a fun purpose. So, right now I have this gravel, and it's blocking the water. And if I remove this, the water should start falling down there. And then there! It's spreading infinitely! So now it's like a huge wave, a huge tsunami coming towards me. And it's just gonna go down this entire tunnel. Oh no! I hit the back wall! Oh no! No! Another change is that they added a control to save where we're going to respawn. So before, when I pressed R, I would teleport to a random location in the sky. But now, if I press enter here, it has saved my position and my rotation, and if I press R, I will return to that position, no matter where I am in the world. Now what's incredible about this is I can save in the middle of the air, right? And then if I keep pressing R, I'm kind of levitating. But what's even better is if I press space, and then immediately after I press R, there, you saw I jumped in midair. And what we can do while we're in midair, I found out, is you can press enter, and then you have your save position even higher. So what we're going to do is keep doing that process over and over, and we'll slowly get our saved position higher and higher above the build limit. And we can fly, essentially. It's much later, and I'm excited to show you all the progress I've made. I've just been repeating that process over and over, so now if I press R, there you go. We're falling down in our world, and it looks so much smaller from up here. We're way above the clouds, and this took a very long time, but I would like to go even further. The only problem is, as I get higher and higher, it's taking more time to go the same distance, because each time I want to just attempt to jump, I need to wait for this entire fall to complete. It is much, much later, and our spawn point is 1,000 blocks above the world. I was able to verify that using a binary viewer and checking our level.dat. Although this process may seem limitless, there is a theoretical maximum. The problem is that the game saves the Y position of the spawn point as a Java int. The Java int maxes out at 2,147,483,647. Past that number, it will overflow and your position will become negative. As much as I would like to hit this limit, it would take a ludicrous amount of time. This right part of the equation is calculating how many blocks we would have to fall in total in order to get up there. As we saw earlier, every time the player wants to jump one more block, they have to fall the entire accumulated distance. So this sums every number from the build limit to the int max. Then, after calculating the total number of blocks required to fall, it's divided by the terminal velocity, which is slightly under 4 blocks per tick. Then, once you convert those ticks into seconds and then years, you find that the optimistic minimum is 913,972,526 years. And that's assuming you actually get every jump, which is difficult considering the precise timing required. Although we'll never legitimately get there, I can cheat on a copy of our world to show what it would look like. Here it is. This is what it looks like once we go to a negative Y. Now this is very strange because even when you're like millions of blocks negative, you'll get teleported to this exact location. And we're actually stuck. Like there's no way we could ever escape here. Even if we close out the game and come back, we would spawn back at this location. We're stuck outside the bedrock. You can see the water is actually above us. So we're just in a very invalid position. Now I've got the spawn point so high that at the highest point, you can't even see the world because of the fog. So while I'm falling from this extreme height, I wanted to mention a question you might be having and answer it. So
what would happen if the player were to set their spawn point here and then place blocks in the spawn location. If you do that, the player will just spawn on top of those blocks. So it just looks for the next position it can spawn successfully in air. Now, also, I just wanted to have some fun, so I'm going to go back up to this extreme height, and I'm going to start spawning a bunch of Steves. I want to make it rain Steves onto our world. So they're way above there, and when we get to the bottom, the skybox is going to appear, but then they'll all appear and then rain down onto our world. Ready? There they go. They all come from the sky. So the skybox doesn't render very high above the build limit because Notch obviously did not expect the player to get up that high. So once it appears, they are all hidden behind it, but then they pop through and then we can see them. And to quickly finish off the changelog, I wanted to mention that if I scroll, I can now change what block I'm selecting, and many of the bugs that I mentioned in the last episode have been fixed. So now all of the saplings have decayed, and I don't see random stripes through the sky anymore. Oh, and then don't forget about the building section. So I'm going to show you some 2009 trends. We're going to put some leaf windows on this house. Oh yeah, really contrasts with that stone. Okay, but in all seriousness, this is the end of the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. It took a really long time to make, so if you want to see more, please subscribe. Bye!